Something is watching. Always. Hello everyone, I am Nostradante and welcome to my world. Now, the world of Pokemon is indeed vast and varied. You have your loving, happy, cute moments, and then you have your creepy, dark, disturbing moments. This of course extends to the Pokemon themselves. This list is comprised of Pokemon I deemed pretty creepy, and not necessarily deadly or dangerous, but they can be. In no particular order, here are 10 types of Pokemon that will leave you wondering, how do people live in this world and not lose their freaking minds? Beheeyem. Beheeyem is a psychic Pokemon that resembles an extraterrestrial organism, with a large cranium, green eyes, and 3 multicolored digits on its hands. Its preferred method of locomotion is floating, but these bizarre features are not what makes it creepy or dangerous. Although they are generally not thought of as hostile, its potential power and abilities cannot be ignored. The fact that this Pokemon has the power to manipulate the memories of its target by rewriting or even erasing memories can carry some scary or even deadly implications. The concepts of massive amnesia or remembering something that never happened in the first place and living by those thoughts are too vast to cover in this video. According to certain accounts, it can befriend other Pokemon to use them for its own purposes, especially if Beheeyem has a devious trainer. This Pokemon has also been implicated in kidnapping other Pokemon and replacing them with dolls. Beheeyem is so powerful that when in groups, they can hypnotize entire towns into doing their bidding. This is one creature that you want to take seriously, lest you desire to experience an entire mental transformation, one that you might not be able to return from. Honedge, Doublade, Aegislash. This family of steel ghost Pokemon resemble ancient swords. Just the fact that there is a sentient sword, be it living or possessed, is disturbing. Honedge's blue eye, which is found near the hilt, is said to be its true form. Nevertheless, the power it possesses is creepy and deadly. It does not appear to be outright hostile unless its hilt is grabbed. If this occurs, it will use its sash to attach itself to the offender, and then proceed to suck the life force out of the victim completely. Or, they will simply be attacked by the said sword. It is said that Honedge is a sword possessed by the spirit of a person killed by the said sword. Doublade looks intimidating, but according to my research, it does not appear to be as disturbing in behavior as its relatives. Besides the disturbing sounds it makes by rubbing its 2 blades together, it is only deadly if it is facing an opponent in which it will use its amazing dual-bladed telepathic coordination to outmatch even the best of swordsmen. Aegislash, however, can be a bit more sinister. Although it is an admirer of leadership and power, its massive spectral power allows it to manipulate people and other Pokemon. One can imagine how dangerous a power-loving being with mind-controlling powers can be. There's a story that involves an Aegislash draining the life force of a king it was allied with and caused the king's kingdom to fall. And let's not forget that this is still a sentient blade that also has a shield form. A truly remarkable and creepy being indeed. Banette. A ghost Pokemon shaped like a doll that is possessed by pure hatred. Can it get any creepier? Yes. Its previous form, Choupette, actually feeds off the negative emotions of people and is sometimes welcome in homes, only for the creature to evolve into a Banette and become a living embodiment of those emotions. And it has a zipper for a mouth. It requires this zipper to keep its life force inside its body, or else it will lose energy. Its most terrifying ability is that it can use its own body as a voodoo doll and curse its opponents. It lurks in dumps and alleys to search for the child that threw it away before it became possessed by the negative energy and became a Pokemon. Seeing as it is a ghostly voodoo doll, one could imagine what horrific things it will do once it finds said child. Oh, and it has a Mega Evolution where it becomes so vindictive that its power spills from its mouth and it will curse its own trainer. Nightmare Fuel Incarnate. Cacturne. This is a Pokemon that possesses the elements of grass and dark while taking the form of a cactus-like scarecrow. At 4 feet and over 170 pounds, it is a creepy and imposing sight. During the day, there isn't much to worry about as it is quite sedentary, to the point that standing around the desert so long has caused its blood to turn into sand. At night, however, is where the terror begins. They will gather in groups and follow desert wanderers until they notice that said travelers are exhausted and weakened from their journey. Then, well, besides using the word prey, the Pokédexes are not explicit in what exactly happens. Cacturne doesn't appear to have the mouth of a carnivore, so is it a desert murderer? One thing I decided to do was look at its move list, and all becomes clear. Cacturnes are venomous. A significant portion of its moveset involves some sort of stabbing or penetration. And finally, Absorb and Leech Seed are techniques that involve draining the life of a victim and replenishing the life of the user. Terrified yet? Yamask and Cofagrigus. The Yamask is one of the few creepy Pokemon on this list that isn't truly hostile. It is a ghost Pokemon that is based on a human that was once alive. Now its human face has taken the form of a golden mask that it carries around. It is a rather sad Pokemon that laments its death and often cries upon looking at the mask. However, should a living person steal and wear the mask, the Yamask will become upset and may possess the person who wears the mask. What happens after that is not explained, but if the mask is given back, the Yamask will calm down. Luckily, the Yamask is mostly found in ancient ruins. Now, the evolved form of Yamask is a terror to behold. Cofagrigus is a ghost Pokemon taking the form of a sarcophagus with 4 ghostly hands, a sinister face, and the golden mask that its previous form carried that is now on its forehead. Should someone come near this Pokemon, especially if they are grave robbers, Cofagrigus will swallow the person and turn them into a mummy. Yes, a person will be swallowed, killed, and then wrapped up for coming too close. The icing on the cake? It doesn't remember when it was once human, and it likes to eat gold while being made of gold itself. Now there's a Galarian Yamask and its evolved form Runerigus, but they are nowhere near as creepy or terrifying as their counterparts, since there is no mask involved, but a cursed tablet and being shown horrific memories should the Runerigus be touched. It is best to keep one's hands to yourself. Duskull and Dusclops. According to my research, the Duskull, a ghost Pokemon, doesn't appear to be horrifically hostile, but it is very creepy nevertheless. It is creepy to the point that it has a currently unverified legend surrounding it. It is said that children who misbehave and are scolded by their parents will be spirited away by the Duskull. What has been verified is that the Duskull loves making children cry by appearing and then passing through walls. It also has this creepy tendency to appear and disappear, then glare at people using its single scarlet eye. Based on the Pokédex, it relentlessly pursues its prey until dawn. The meaning of prey is never truly defined. There's no mention of being killed or captured, but it seems as if the Duskull has a preference for evoking fear. It doesn't help that the Duskull resembles a skull with the wardrobe of a Grim Reaper. Its more evolved form, Dusclops, is far more terrifying. It has the appearance of a cycloptic mummy and possesses some horrific abilities. The scarlet eye of the Duskull becomes the sole eye of the Dusclops, and it uses this eye to hypnotize its target into doing its bidding. As creepy as this isn't its worst attribute. Dusclops has a hollow body that is like a black hole. No matter the size of the object, Dusclops can absorb it into its body, never to return. The same can be said of anyone that dares to attempt to peer inside its body, especially if the curious types want a closer look at Dusclops' eye, which is said to be a spectral ball of fire. It is unknown what happens to the will-o'-the-wisp it eats, objects or people who get sucked through the bandages that adorn Dusclops' body. Let us be thankful that the final evolution, Dusknoir, is much more benevolent in that it helps souls reach the afterlife after their bodies cease living. However, on very rare occasions, the Dusknors have accidentally taken the souls of those not quite dead yet. The possibility is slim, but never zero. Sableye. This dark ghost Pokemon is a living example of creepy. It is a little purple creature with claws and glowing eyes made of gems. This is due to the fact that it uses those claws to dig up gems to eat them. The gem's contents then manifest itself in its eyes. Otherwise, this creature is generally harmless unless the tale surrounding it is true. People fear this Pokemon because it is said that looking into its jeweled eyes will result in your soul being stolen. The Mega version of Sableye has the gem on its chest pop out and then grow while leaving a hole in its torso. Not something you want to see in a cave, which is where Sableyes dwell. Gothita, Gothorita, and Gothitelle. This Pokemon fits the generally perceived goth theme to a T. Most people deem goths as weird and creepy, which is expressed clearly with this creature. It is a small humanoid psychic Pokemon that resembles a little girl, covered in mostly black, white, and purple, and is adorned with bows that are actually feelers that amplify its psychic power. Gothita is actually not considered dangerous, however its creepy factor comes from the fact that it loves to stare. And that's it. It'll stare intently, constantly. It'll stare with such intent that it may not notice attacks incoming. It is said that it does this because it is seeing something in or near us that only Gothita itself can see. Whether this observation is harmful or not cannot be ascertained. Gothorita, its evolved form, is slightly more sinister, or at least mischievous. Now that it has more bows, it can use this power to hypnotize and control people and other Pokemon. It is said to lead people astray and create friends out of sleeping, hypnotized children on starry nights. Starlight only amplifies Gothorita's power, which may have led to the tales of it spiriting away children. Gothitelle seems to be less controlling, yet still creepy. It gains more of those bow-like feelers and has vast psychic powers. This Pokemon actually dislikes conflict, yet is strong enough to distort space around it, which can create visions of the future, including the lifespan of its trainer. Upon learning about the demise of its trainer, it weeps. A criminal had his fate shown by a Gothitelle, and then went missing that same day, and was never seen again. It is unlikely Gothitelle is directly responsible for this disappearance, but the implications are surely enough to raise some hairs. Parasect. There's actually nothing really creepy about this bug grass Pokemon. In fact, most folks find this little creature cute. The problem is what's happening to it. Red and yellow mushrooms called Tochukaso grow on Parasect's back and have a small influence on Parasect's behavior. The pure creep factor rolls in when it evolves into Parasect. Once this happens, the mushroom takes over the insect's body completely. Parasect's eyes are raw, pure, vacant white, with no pupils, and the mushroom covers the entire insect. The parasitism is so strong that if the mushroom is removed, the body stops moving. In other words, Parasect is a mushroom-controlled zombie. These Pokemon can gather in groups and drain trees of their nutrients en masse before moving to another. Also, the spores are poisonous and will be laid on Parasect's eggs to start the cycle again once the mushroom cannot extract nutrients from the insect anymore. The most horrifying thing of all? There are parasites in real life that do similar things to invertebrates. A lot more than you think. Gastly, Haunter, and Gengar. Gastly is an appropriately named ghost Pokemon. It is a Pokemon that resembles a black ball with large eyes, a huge mouth with 2 fangs that is surrounded by a purple gas. This gas makes up 95% of its body and is poisonous, while the remaining 5% is said to be made up of souls who died from the gas. The gas can either put someone to sleep, cause them to immediately faint, or suffocate. Only heavy winds can make it dissipate. This Pokemon can easily phase through solids and create hands with the gas it is made of. Despite its poisonous nature, it prefers to be playfully mischievous by pulling pranks. They love caves and old abandoned buildings. In comparison to Haunter and Gengar, Gastly is actually quite pleasant to be around. Haunter is the next evolution and also takes on a gaseous form, but is shaped like a spiky body with a menacing grinning face and is adorned with disembodied hands. It can control other Pokemon with these hands, but this isn't the creepiest thing about Haunter. It hangs in dark areas and can phase through walls like Gastly. Haunter will appear in certain areas and beckon people to approach. This action is ill-advised. Should one approach the beckoning ghost, it will use its gaseous tongue to lick its prey. This action lets the Haunter steal the victim's life force, which results in endless shaking until death. Only light will keep the Haunter at bay. If one feels that they are not alone in the dark, it is usually an awaiting Haunter. It is said that moonless, lonely nights are the worst time to be outside because a Haunter will catch the victim and curse them. Despite these dangers, the Haunter actually likes to entertain and prank people. Nevertheless, this ghost is the epitome of creepy terror. Or is it? Gengar is on another level as the final evolution of Gastly. This time it resembles a purple gremlin with a very disturbing grin and red eyes. Much like its past evolutions, it loves the dark. It can actually hide within shadows in order to curse people and steal their life force. Its mere existence steals heat, so if one feels a sudden chill that causes them to shake, a Gengar has possibly entered the room. Once a Gengar is sensed, there is nothing a person can do. Either their life force will be fed upon, or they will be subjected to mischief and pranks. Gengar gets joy out of scaring the daylights out of people. The creepiest thing of all? Gengar likes caves, but also has a fondness for dark urban areas like back alleys. Picture that for a moment to get the full picture of how utterly creepy and terrifying this can be. To make matters worse, Gengar has a mega form, where it grows a yellow third eye that lets it see into other dimensions, and has a penchant for cursing anyone and anything it deems as prey, including its own trainer. And finally, the Gigantamax Gengar's mouth is said to lead people into the afterlife. One can hear the wails and voices of their loved ones inside. There is a reason why the Gengar has a large amount of lore, fanfiction, and creepypasta surrounding it. It is literally the word creepy in Pokemon form. If you enjoyed this video, please leave suggestions for future content in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications, because this is Nashadante, signing the frig off. Peace, stabilities, chicken grease, and all of that groovy stuff.